I just want to see my balance, he said, his voice soft, almost hesitant. The words floated in the air of the busy bank lobby, mingling with the clatter of keyboards, the low hum of conversations, and the distant ringing of telephones. For a moment, it seemed almost ordinary. A man asking about his account is nothing new, after all. But there was something about the man himself that made everyone pause. He was old, disheveled, and his clothes hung loosely as if they had not seen proper care in months. His shoes were worn, soles flapping faintly against the floor with every hesitant step. His hair, unkempt and gray, fell into his tired eyes. He looked like someone who had been forgotten by life itself, someone who had drifted through years of hardship and neglect. The manager, a middle-aged man with crisp attire and a polished demeanor, chuckled audibly, shaking his head as if trying to clear the absurdity of the scene. "Sir, are you sure you want to check your balance here?" he asked, still laughing lightly. "You don't have an appointment, and, well," his gaze lingered on the man, betraying his skepticism. Security officers, stationed near the entrance, shifted uncomfortably, their eyes following the old man as though anticipating trouble. Customers began to whisper, curiosity mixing with judgment. Some exchanged glances, a mixture of disbelief and amusement flickering across their faces. The old man looked down at his hands, gripping a simple, worn-out card. There was no anger in his expression, no defiance, only a quiet dignity. "Yes," he said firmly, but without confrontation. "I just want to see my balance." The manager motioned for the man to come closer, still smirking. "All right, let's see what we've got here," he said, leading the way to the terminal. He swiped the card, expecting perhaps a negative balance, an error, or nothing at all. He anticipated the routine of dismissing yet another inconsequential customer and moving on with his day. But when the screen updated, a hush fell over the entire lobby. The numbers glowed brightly, stark against the dim hum of fluorescent lights, revealing a balance so large that the room collectively held its breath. The manager's face, once lined with amusement, drained of color. His eyes widened, jaw slackened, and the laugh that had filled the room moments ago was replaced by stunned silence. The customers, initially gossiping in low tones, now stopped, their murmurs dying as they caught sight of the screen. No one had expected it. The old man, the one who looked like he had nothing, had more wealth than anyone could imagine. Yet, there was no hint of vanity in his posture, no sudden smirk or boastful grin. He merely nodded politely, as if the revelation meant little to him. The story behind the man's account was extraordinary, a tale of resilience, foresight, and quiet determination. Decades earlier, he had been a young man with modest means but an unyielding belief in the value of planning and patience. He had lived through wars, economic collapses, and personal losses, yet he never let the hardship dictate the entirety of his life. Where others might have spent, borrowed, or squandered, he saved carefully, invested shrewdly, and let his wealth grow quietly, unseen by the world. Life had not always been kind. He had faced the cruelty of poverty, the sting of being overlooked, and the isolation that often accompanies long years of struggle. Friends came and went, family members drifted apart or passed on, yet he remained committed to his principle, that patience, discipline, and integrity would eventually yield results. The card he held in his hands was not merely a bank account, it was a testament to decades of perseverance, strategic thinking, and resilience in the face of life's relentless challenges. The manager, now pale and trembling slightly, realized that his assumptions had been catastrophically wrong. He had seen a man dressed in tattered clothing and assumed he had nothing. He had judged based on appearances, overlooking the possibility that wealth and wisdom are not always visible on the surface. And in that instant, a lesson crystallized, a lesson about humility, assumptions, and the unpredictable nature of life. The old man, sensing the tension and surprise, smiled faintly. It was a smile of understanding, not mockery. He did not need to explain himself, the truth of his life spoke volumes. The customers who had gathered, initially curious and perhaps judgmental, now felt a wave of awe. Here was a man who defied stereotypes, who quietly mastered his fate without fanfare or notice. The image of him as a homeless figure or a wandering vagabond was shattered instantly by the reality of his life's work. This moment, as simple as a balance inquiry, revealed much about human nature. People often judge too quickly, rely on appearances, and underestimate the hidden stories that each individual carries. It reminded everyone in that room that wealth, knowledge, and resilience are not always visible. True character often lies in the quiet corners of life, away from public recognition, shaped not by spectacle but by dedication and perseverance. After that day, the story of the old man spread far beyond the walls of the bank. He became a symbol of hope for many, an example that appearances can be deceiving, and that life's outcomes are often determined not by luck alone, but by consistent effort, strategic planning, and unwavering patience. Communities began sharing his story as a lesson for young and old alike, a reminder to never underestimate anyone based on what you see at first glance. Beyond the shock of the balance was a deeper human story. Here was a man who had faced countless obstacles, who had been overlooked, judged, and underestimated, yet had not allowed bitterness to take root. Instead, he turned every hardship into a stepping stone, every failure into a lesson, and every challenge into an opportunity to grow stronger. His life showed that success is not always loud or ostentatious. Sometimes, it is quiet, patient, and built in the shadows, waiting for the moment it will be revealed. The manager, for his part, was left to reflect deeply. The laughter that had once come so easily now seemed like a bitter echo of judgment and ignorance. He had learned an unforgettable lesson about human dignity, the dangers of assumptions, and the extraordinary stories that often lie hidden in the most unassuming people. From that day onward, he approached his work with a different perspective, more mindful, more patient, more aware that every person who walks into his lobby carries a story far richer than appearances might suggest. Meanwhile, the old man went on quietly with his life, uninterested in fame or recognition. He never sought the applause that came from revealing his wealth or surprising those who underestimated him. For him, the balance was not a measure of status, but a quiet affirmation of a life lived with integrity, discipline, and perseverance. It was proof that even in the face of adversity, a person could rise, thrive, and quietly master their destiny. Stories like these have the power to transform not just individual perceptions but entire communities. They remind us that true wealth is not merely in numbers or material possessions but in the resilience of the human spirit, the patience to endure, and the wisdom to navigate life's unpredictable challenges. They challenge our biases, encourage empathy, and inspire us to look beyond surface impressions. In the end, it was not the balance that mattered most, it was the story behind it. The old man's life became a lesson for everyone who witnessed it. Never underestimate the quiet strength of a person, never judge too quickly, and always remember that resilience, integrity, and perseverance are treasures that no one can take away. His life taught a profound truth. Appearances can be misleading, but character and determination endure. The next time someone looks small, weak, or insignificant, think of the old man at the bank, quietly holding a card that symbolized decades of patience, discipline, and resilience. Think of the lessons he embodied: humility, foresight, and the quiet courage to live life on one's own terms. His story is a beacon, a reminder that even when the world seems to overlook you, your efforts matter, your perseverance counts, and your time to shine will come, even in the most unexpected ways. This story is more than a tale of surprise or wealth. It is a tribute to human resilience, a testament to the power of perseverance, and a call to all of us to look deeper, judge less, and respect the hidden struggles and triumphs of those around us. Because sometimes, the most extraordinary lives are the ones lived quietly, patiently, and with unwavering dignity. And sometimes, a simple request, "I just want to see my balance," can reveal a truth that leaves an entire room changed, humbled, and inspired.